It is almost impossible to overestimate the importance of the monarchy in Thai religious thought. The king's throne is a symbolic expression of this. The king is over all. His 9-tiered umbrella signifies universal protection. The throne symbolizes a 3-tiered universe, not all that different from the 3-tiered universe of medieval Christianity, with hell, Middle Earth, and heaven. But while the Christian king holds his power under God, the symbolism here is quite different. Hell, Middle Earth, heaven, and the king sitting on top of everything. However dictatorial Western monarchs were, there was a theology which said that the king must humble himself under God. However humble Thai monarchs may be, there is a theology which says that they are divine. In mythological terms, the king sits on the universe like the supreme creator. And for many Thais, the myths are still real. No wonder Thai peasants worship their king. What is the country over which King Bhumibol reigns? Thailand. Roughly the size of France. Population about 45 million and growing fast. The Thais are a people proud of their traditions. Thais have been in the country for about 4,000 years. Originally, the Thais were a Mongol people living in China between the Yellow River and the Yangtze. Then the Chinese started encroaching on their territory, and the Thais moved south to the land shaped like an elephant's head. The word Thai means free people. Thailand has 4 main regions. The north, with its mountains and forests of teak and elephants, mainly very fertile, but inhabited by primitive tribes speaking languages other than Thai, who are destroying the ecology through ignorance and whose preferred crop is opium. The barren northeast, where the farmers risk serious loss during droughts, where they are liable to become trapped by moneylenders, and where the communists are at their strongest. The southern peninsula, shared with Malaysia, where there is rubber and tin, but where there are vast unproductive swamps which create a need for drainage and irrigation canals if the land is to yield its full capacity. The fertile paddy fields of the Central Plain. Thailand has 3 seasons, the hot, the wet and the cool, though even the cool seems hot to someone brought up in the temperate zone. Most towns in Thailand are built on water, and nearly all have floating markets where every kind of produce can be bought. An ancient Thai inscription reads, "This land is good, in the water there is fish, in the fields there is rice. Whoever wants to trade, trades. The faces of the people shine bright with happiness." Thailand refers to itself as the land of smiles. 85% of Thais live on the land, most of them still in primitive third world conditions. But by comparison with the really poor countries of the third world, no Thais are that poor. There is malnutrition, but no one starves. The trouble with Thailand is the enormous gap between the very wealthy few and the peasant majority. Thailand is potentially a rich country. Its problem is how to develop its resources and how to distribute without corruption the wealth that could be created. Much of the land is potentially very fertile. The main crop is rice. This year, Thailand expects to become the world's leading rice exporter. Yet, ironically, the farmers remain poor. For years, successive governments have kept the price paid to farmers for rice artificially low to cut the cost of living in Bangkok. But such exploitation has proved a serious threat to internal security. Another security problem is created by the presence of the refugees. They come by the thousands, lame and sick, edging their way to freedom. They are Thailand's most desperate problem. We in the West have only recently become aware of the pitiful plight of these survivors from Cambodia, a nation in its death throes. But for Thailand, the problem is not new. Refugees fleeing from disease, famine, and unimaginable horrors have been coming across her borders since the end of the Vietnam War in 1975. Now there are refugees of several different races and countries: Laotians, Cambodians, Vietnamese, Chinese. At any given moment, there are between 200,000 and 300,000 refugees in Thailand. Some are resettled in other countries and move on. Some come for food or medical attention and slip back across the border again. Some are communist infiltrators. So far, Thai peasants do not need to leave their homes, except to crowd into already overcrowded Bangkok, adding to its congestion, noise and traffic pollution. Krung Thep, the Thais call the city, shortening its full name to the first word, Krung Thep, City of Angels. But the angels have given way to gasoline fumes and neon signs, a vivid example of what the French call coco-colonization. The smiles in the capital of the land of smiles are so often for sale. And this, of course, is part of Thailand's problem. So much of the country's wealth is concentrated in Bangkok, an international playboy city where Japanese businessmen come on sex package tours to the massage parlors that were built for the American troops in the Vietnam War. The other side to Bangkok, its 184 temple. 95% of Thais are practicing Buddhists. Thailand's devout Buddhism is both a strength and a weakness. The weakness is that Buddhism encourages an acceptance of the status quo. For each person has many lives and the next one may be pleasanter. The strength is that there is a moral and philosophical unity here that very few countries in the world now possess. Thailand has not yet lost its soul. Actually, there are many strands in Thai religion. In addition to the Buddhist temples, there are the spirit houses, one outside nearly every home, dwelling places for the local guardian spirits. Animism, a belief in spirits abiding in creatures, trees, water, was the original religion of the Thais. The spirits of animism mingled with the gods of Hinduism to form a culture which gives Thailand its stories, its drama, and its dance. It is by an extraordinary combination of chances that King Bhumibol came to be king of Thailand. His father, Prince Mahidol, was a younger son of King Chulalongkorn, went to school at Harrow, served for a while in the German Navy, and then trained as a doctor at Harvard. In America, he met his wife, King Bhumibol's mother, now known as Her Royal Highness the Princess Mother. She was a commoner who was studying to be a nurse there. They were married in 1920. Galyani, their eldest daughter, was born in 1923. Anand, their eldest son, was born in 1925. Bhumibol in 1927. In 1928, Prince Mahidol finally qualified as a doctor and returned to Thailand. His brother, the reigning king, Prachatipak, was childless. The more senior princes had died, and Mahidol was now heir to the throne. The taboos surrounding royalty were very strong, and it was unthinkable for him to practice as a doctor in Bangkok. So he went north, but there he soon contracted an illness and died when Bhumibol was less than 2. Anand was now heir. In 1933, a year after the coup, and fearful of its consequences, the princess mother went to Switzerland to ensure the safety of her children, Anand now being heir to the throne. The 3 children were brought up and educated in Lausanne. But in 1935, King Prachatipak abdicated and retired to his beloved England, taking a house in Virginia Water. So at the age of 10, Anand, who was in bed that day with a heavy cold, was asked if he would accept the crown, and said yes. They remained in Switzerland, however, till after the Second World War. A close family, the two brothers always together. They were brought up to be good at sports and to speak many languages. King Anand studied law, Bhumibol science. In 1945, after the war had ended, King Anand returned to Thailand with the entire family, summoned to return by Pridi, who was now Prime Minister. The princess mother agreed to the family's return for 1 month only because of King Anand's studies, but against her better judgment, the stay was extended for reasons of state. They lived in the Barompiman Hall in the Grand Palace, which had been built in imitation of buildings seen in Europe. On the 9th of June 1946, in the bedroom in this wing of the palace, King Anand was found shot through the head by a Colt 45 which he kept at his bedside. Royal protocol stopped an immediate investigation. There was no sign of an assassin's entry. Was it accident, suicide, or murder? It was in these circumstances that Bhumibol was chosen as king later that day. His first duty was to attend for an hour every day for 100 days in front of the golden urn in which his brother's body lay in state. The body remained in the urn for 4 years. King Bhumibol went to Switzerland to complete his studies and returned in March 1950 to cremate his brother's body. Meanwhile, a long trial was in process. Pridi had organized a commission of inquiry, but found himself rumored as guilty of planning the king's murder. He resigned and fled the country. Finally, on the 17th of February 1955, 3 men were executed for the king's murder. But an atmosphere of doubt remains. Whatever the truth of Anand's death, the event has affected King Bhumibol's whole life. When David Lomax asked him about his brother's death, he found the question most distressing.
After so many years now, how do you believe that your brother died?
The investigation provided the fact that he died with a bullet wound in his forehead. And this thing is, it was proved that it was not an accident or not a suicide. One doesn't know. But what happened is very mysterious, because immediately many of the evidence was just shifted, and then because it was political, so everyone was political, even the police were political. So it is a fact of that is not very clear. I only know what happened.
When you yourself, you yourself were there and you ran along when they were in court?
When I arrived, he was dead. Many people wanted to advance not theories but facts to clear up the affair. They were suppressed, and they were suppressed by influential people in this country or in the international politics.
Mourning for the past king must always precede the accession of the new king. But the sight of Anand's funeral chariot must have been a particularly painful memory for Bhumibol to associate with his own coronation, which took place in May 1950. Even his marriage to Queen Sirikit at the end of April 1950, surely one of the most beautiful and romantic of all royal marriages, started unhappily. The king was recovering from a serious motor accident in which he'd lost his right eye at the time they became engaged. They had met when her father was ambassador in Paris, and their courtship had continued in London during his transfer to the embassy there. In her favourite palace in the north, with its gardens created on English models, Queen Sirikit tells of her first meeting with the king.
It was hate at first sight on my side.
Hate at first sight?
Hate at first sight, because he said that he would arrive at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He arrived at 7 o'clock, kept me standing there and practicing curtsy and curtsy. So it was hate at first sight.
Well, if it was hate at first sight, what was it at second sight?
Then it was love. Just the ordinary thing you have heard, love at first sight. I didn't know that he loved me, because at that time I was only 15 years old and planned to be a pianist, concert pianist.
And then he had a car accident, didn't he? Well, what happened there?
He was gravely ill in the hospital. The police rang his mother, and the princess mother came immediately. Instead of greeting her, he produced my picture out of his pocket without my knowing that he had one. And then he said, "Send for her. I love her, send for her." I thought of being with the man I love only, not of the duty and burdens of queen.
The Queen has spoken in public about the need for mothers to send their sons to fight for Thailand. Given the importance of the army, it is right and proper that the Crown Prince should be a serving officer. But it is also his own personal choice. He enjoys army life and enjoyed his training in Australia after a not very happy time at school in England. He has been on active service in the war against the insurgents, been ambushed, and had his helicopter shot down.
What are the personal pressures on you in your role as Crown Prince?
I don't know what it's like, because I have been born the first second of my life. I'm a prince. It's difficult to say what is it like to be a fish when you are a fish, or what is it like to be a bird when you're a bird. If you go and ask them, it's difficult, because they don't know what it's like not to be a fish or a bird. In every life, I believe that there are pressures and there are stress and there are problems. And this is one kind of problem you have. It is the same as everybody. There are pros and cons, and there are advantage, disadvantage, and all sort of things. I'm not special.
The Sai Thai Fair is sponsored by Princess Sirindhorn, who has interrupted her university career, a very distinguished one, since she won the highest finals grades of her year and holds 2 MAs, to work on her father's projects. Sai Jai means heart thread, the bond that unites the Thai people. They give aid to soldiers and police wounded while on duty in the border areas, and to the families of those killed.
And at the same time, we have everybody from all parts of the country who sell their product, and the people of Bangkok will be able to know and to sell and to buy things from all the country in one day.
At the fair, a star attraction, Princess Chulapong, who is a successful figure in Thai pop music. But she also plays solo classical piano in public concerts.
A shiny star lights up way up high.
She has also been accepted to do a chemistry PhD at a Bangkok university.
This comes to pass when a child is born. A silent wish
Her father, the king, is also a musician, among many other talents. He is a composer, plays jazz saxophone, clarinet and several other instruments. He has played with Duke Ellington. When in Bangkok, he broadcasts a weekly program of jazz with his band from the radio station in the palace. His musical ear is put to other uses also, since he is said to speak 7 European languages. He took up painting as an adult, though no longer finds time for it now. This painting, Gossip, is a favorite of his. He's been a keen photographer since his school days. His photographs tend to have single objects as their point of reference. He takes a great many portraits of the Queen and admits to being a little jealous when other people photograph her. He is still a keen sportsman and is particularly fond of sailing. He has built sailboats himself and designed a special rudderless engine for boats to use in the shallow waterways frequently found in Thailand, where normal rudders get caught in vegetation. The King's most notable achievement as yachtsman was in 1967 at the Southeast Asian Games, when he won a gold medal in the OK class with his oldest daughter, Princess Ubonra. The princess is now married to an American. She works in Los Angeles as a nuclear physicist and has never returned to Thailand. An original and talented monarch. A worthy successor to his ancestors, the Chakri dynasty, to whom the royal family pay their respects in an annual ceremony on the coronation anniversary. Each king bears the titular name of Rama. Before the Chakri dynasty, the Thai capital was known as Ayutthaya. In a savage war, the Burmese sacked the city and burnt it to ruins. A Thai general called Thaksin started the resistance, reformed the Thais and became king. But he seems to have gone a little mad. He believed that he could levitate. He was ousted and replaced by another general, known by his title of Chakri, which means commander-in-chief. He became king, taking the title of Rama I in 1782 and founded his capital at Bangkok. The present king is Rama IX.
Kingship, if we have to use this word, has changed all the time. Since the old times and then since the advent of founding of Bangkok capital, it has always changed. My great-grandfather was the philosopher king. He was the king that you will know under the name of King Mongkut.
The famous king, model for The King and I, who came to the throne in 1851, aged 47, after having been a monk for 27 years. King Mongkut was full of ingenuity. He had a scheme for widening canals by driving buffaloes down them as a kind of living bulldozer. In other, more fundamental ways, he started to introduce Thailand to Western civilization. As a distinguished abbot and scholar, Mongkut knew Sanskrit, Pali, and several other Asian languages. He also taught himself English, and then read everything he could find about science, becoming especially good at astronomy. But this was finally to cause his death, for he had correctly predicted an eclipse of the sun, and insisted on taking his court to the place where it would be most visible. This was a fever spot. King Mongkut caught the fever and died. Mongkut's son, Chulalongkorn, succeeded in 1868. His reign lasted 42 years, and he brilliantly managed both to avoid conquest by Britain or France, and also to modernize Thailand along Western lines.
He did not have an easy life. He began at the age of 15, and he had to create a place for himself. That means he had to define his own duties by taking up the basis that my great-grandfather had laid. And he had to fight also for keeping the country free from encroachment from other countries.
He sent his sons to school in England, traveled widely in Europe, reformed the Thai system of justice, health and education, abolished slavery, and created the first Thai bank. King Chulalongkorn started this royal collection of vintage cars. He taught himself to drive, and having created wide tree-lined avenues in Bangkok, used to motor around them in his electric car. His motoring enthusiasm was shared by his senior wife, Queen Sawapa, who was given to buying up cars by the dozen as gifts for those who had served the country well. All the dynasty had been colourful personalities, creative, original, and given to flamboyance. It was Rama I who built these magnificent golden barges, which are taking the king to the Temple of the Dawn to offer robes to the monks for the Katin festival. King Mongkut also loved spectacle, in spite of his 27 years as a monk. And immediately after his coronation, he led a huge procession of brightly coloured longboats around Bangkok. His own boat had gold-painted paddles, and the 100 oarsmen were dressed in scarlet. Elephants now are only occasionally used for ceremonial events, but the possession of white elephants remains an important symbol of royal power in Thailand even today. These are King Bhumibol's white elephants. His brother, King Anan, possessed none, and that ill omen is held to have brought about his death. King Mongkut wrote a book about white elephants, which incidentally, though albino, are not white. They should have pink and yellow eyes, a light reddish-brown skin and red hair, and white toenails, white at the edge of their ears and the top of their trunk. Having enumerated the various points whereby to judge their excellence, one of which was a beautiful snore, Mongkut concluded by saying that ultimately the judgment was a matter of personal choice, as with women. King Mongkut, we may presume, had a way with women. From the age of 47 to 64, after 27 years of celibacy as a monk, he fathered 82 children by 35 wives. His vigorous polygamy is about the only true thing about his portrait in The King and I, the musical based on the inaccurate diary of Anna Leon Owens, an English schoolteacher who spent some time at his court, but did not teach him English, sit by his deathbed, and most certainly did not dance with him.